Chandan, Chanchal and Chitvan are back for more spunky sibling adventures and leisurely life lessons. But what does season 3 of TVF's Tripling have to offer? Let's break it down. Season 3 of the Z5 series picks up in a post-lockdown world. After writing a best-selling book called Tripling based on their season 1 road trip experiences, followed by a second book which fell flat, Chandan, played by Sumeet Vyas, is now struggling with writer's block. Whereas Chanchal, played by Maanvi Gagroo, continues to live the royal life with husband Pranav, played by one of my favourite comedic performers, Kunal Roy Kapoor, who seems to forever be cursed to play the endearing chump husband. Elsewhere, Amol Parashar's lovably laid-back Chitvan is off fighting a custody battle for his adopted son. But of course, the DNA of this show demands a dramatic life event that forces the siblings to come together once again and go on another adventurous journey, both literally and emotionally. But what inspires the impromptu trip this time? It's that their parents, played by a charming Kumud Mishra and Shehnaz Patel, have decided to separate after more than 30 years of marriage, forcing the three kids to visit their family home in Manali and try to talk some sense into them.
Yeah, we're getting separated.
Huh? Nahi mummy papa hain ye?
At its best, like in season 1, Tripling is a simplistic, convenient but wonderful series. A family fairy tale full of heart and humour. Season 3 is clearly the biggest and best looking chapter thus far, and while the series remains just as light, lively and watchable, it's also uneven. But before we get into it, let the record show that I will forever fall at the feet of TVF for giving us another 5-episode season and being so forgiving with their runtime. Say what you want about their shows, but they will never overstay their welcome and stretch their narratives beyond breaking point. What's interesting about Tripling is that it's in many ways TVF's most fantastical show. From Kota Factory to Panchayat to Hostel Days to Good Luck, almost every TVF series is somewhere rooted in reality. But in its tone and characters, Tripling is the most animated of the lot. A fluffy, feel-good, fanciful fairy tale. This is a world where a man can go on a road trip with his siblings, casually write a best-selling book about it, which then gets turned into a hit movie. A world where his recently separated father, who's in his 60s, can go on a Tinder date only to find out that the woman who he's been chatting with this whole time was actually his son's American ex-wife, who's now apparently moved to India.
हमको भी confuse कर रहा है.
A world where a tense legal property dispute within a family is settled with swords and shields in a fun, goofy action scene. It's not heightened reality as much as it is kooky, colourful existence. And that's perfectly fine, as long as it's in service of the show delivering on its promise of bringing the funny and the feels. But for all its flights of fancy, early on it felt like the writing of season 3 from writers Sumeet Vyas and Abbas Dalal just doesn't have the same bite and humour as the earlier seasons. I just didn't feel the same sense of love or laughter. The reason the first season shined was because the series was at its most grounded. There was a sense of relatability there, within that sweet, simple idea of rekindling connection with siblings and family. But for much of season 3, I was very aware that I was watching characters in a show rather than experiencing people who you could take seriously and who could exist in the real world. The weirdly successful writer, the royal family, the parents who are so woke and open-minded, it's almost suspicious. And beyond. All of whom share a comfortable chemistry, yes, but you never quite feel a sense of shared existence and history. Take TVF's own Good Luck, for example, where each member of the family feels like a different part of a larger whole. You don't for a second doubt that they could well be a family. But then, somewhere along the way, season 3 of Tripling gets real and suddenly seems to grow up. It stops hiding behind all the antics and lightness and explores real vulnerability. It's a sudden maturity perfectly captured by Chitvan's arc this season. I've always found him to be an underwritten character who's given the funniest lines but little else. But this time, there's a real effort to navigate hurt and emotion, and I felt it and submitted to its beating heart. I don't know if I'll remember Tripling season 3 a year from now, if the characters or drama, moments or memories will stay with me. But the idea and essence of this show will never not be relevant. To pause your reality and hit the road with your loved ones. The idea of family. Coexistence despite distance. Of coming together, mending fences, reforging connection, renewing love. Learning to be alone together. These are concepts that will never not be meaningful, and there is, I think, a magic in that. It's a simple but significant truth. Because what are we if not the experiences we have, the people we love, and the memories we make along the way? You can watch Tripling Season 3 on Z5. Would I recommend Tripling Season 3 to a friend? I would.